building. She's an entrepreneur, and today we're talking all things turning bold ideas into impactful solutions.
So you're very passionate about entrepreneurship and everything regarding getting people started. So there's a myth going around that not everyone should be an entrepreneur. Like there's some people who should be employed. So what made you want to come into this side?
I'm employed at this point, teaching people how to not be employed. But I started my first unofficial business when I was really young. My mom used to pack fruits for me, and I hated fruits, and she hated me going back with my fruits. And one day, one of my classmates was like, I have cookies.
Yeah.
Do you mind trading? I didn't even know what barter trade was. Jitsi had not taught us yet. So then we kept trading until one day he had things I didn't want, and then he offered money, and then it became a thing, and then I'd sell to guys, and my mom was happy. The dish is empty. I have cookies, and I have money some days.
So she thought you were munching them.
She was happy, and I'd even give her feedback. Like, my customers, I think we should have papaya next week, Mom. And she's like, bet. And they'd come back, and my customers would be happy. So I didn't realize I was doing a supply and demand thing. But over the years, especially after being in the MD role and running a startup at the time, it made me realize I do enjoy leadership. I always find myself in leadership positions, but I don't think I'm necessarily an entrepreneur. I'm an intrapreneur.
What's the difference?
So Entre starts businesses to solve problems, solutions to solve problems. Intra creates solutions for the entrepreneur to continue solving those problems. So even within this business, you guys have certain problems.
Yeah, of course.
So whether it's operations, tech, sales, whatever. So an entrepreneur would be offering these solutions for you guys, and potentially internally or as a consultant.
Right.
Entra is all these people who start different kinds of businesses. So for me, over the years, I realized my strength is in taking your vision and bringing it to life.
Also, you manifest my ideas.
Yeah. No, I'll not manifest, but I'll give you a roadmap.
Yeah.
So you want to go to Naivasha, great. So you don't have a car, we're going to need 1, 2, 3. And this is the budget, and da-da-da-da. I'm an entrepreneur. I solve for people. So the same way, not every part of your body can be the brain. It doesn't mean it's any less than, but there's different functions that certain things, like the hand can do only things that the hand can do, but the brain can't do. So everybody needs to take some time and introspect, because some people want to be entrepreneurs because they have authority issues. I just don't like being told what to do. Yeah. I don't like my boss. So you think running away from this situation will give you freedom? Sure. But now you'll work more hours because now you have other people asking you about money and other things. So you have to solve such and ask yourself, do I really want to be an entrepreneur? Or am I okay being a freelancer where I'm not reporting to anybody? Nobody reports to me per se. I make my own money and I report to myself. And I have a bit of control. So you have to ask yourself some of those questions, which is like one of the things I've noticed. A lot of people come to us in the different programs I'm in, like the Founder Academy at ALX, and guys are like, I want to do this and I want to do that. I'm like, great.
Yeah.
But passionate enough, I can sense you just have issues with your boss. Like you want to leave your job because you just don't like your boss. But you don't really see this problem as something you really want to solve. So then you're not supposed to be an entrepreneur, perhaps a freelancer.
So if somebody has a great idea, a young Kenyan, they just graduated, and they're like, yo, Z, I have this dope thing going on, da-da-da. Where do I start? What would you tell them?
Can I say it?
Yes, please. Yeah.
So they're
supposed to be passionate.
No, I mean, be passionate. Be passionate.
Exactly. Like, what do you mean passionate? I don't understand.
Well, at ALX Ventures, we have a Founder Academy and we have Freelancer Academy. So with Founder Academy, it's programmed and designed to focus on guys who have ideas or people who've already started businesses but things are not going as planned and they just need to figure out like their lean canvas model. Within that, there are different segments like your unique value proposition. What makes you different from your competition? What problem are you solving and for who? Then there's pitch decks, which I specialize in, creating and crafting your pitch deck and how to craft your story in a way that both customers and investors can understand.
Right.
Then we thought, well, we have the learning side where guys come and learn AI, career essentials, say learn software development, but those ones are okay being employed. There are these ones in Founder Academy who are happy to be entrepreneurs and employ, but there are others who are just in the middle. I don't want to be employed, but I don't want to employ. So we thought, let's start a Freelancer Academy where we help them figure out, like even invoicing, how do you create a proposal?
Yeah.
How do you approach people? How do you differentiate yourself from a consultant? Those kind of things. So for us and any other company I work with, such as 54 Collective, because we also have an academy, an entrepreneurship academy, we kept thinking, how do we help the young guys, and even young at heart, to figure out the next step? Because sometimes you think you have a great idea, but it's not a feasible idea at this time. Sometimes ideas are a bit too early, they need to wait a bit, but you can be working on it. Sometimes they're not really late, but you're addressing either the wrong market or you're going about it the wrong way. So for example, I had one of my, should I call them coaches? Someone was coaching. And his idea was really great. It was trying to help guys in blue-collar jobs around, like Kangware, Babandogo, to be able to get jobs. But most of these guys have to physically go to factories and wait for an opportunity to get the job. However, when you say you're building an app, you have to ask yourself, do these guys have a device that can host an app? An additional app. Most of them have entry-level feature phones that are probably 5K, 6K, that have limited storage, limited camera. So how else can you get to them? SMS. Can you create a backend of an SMS database? The same way I pay for tokens, the same way I access data, something like that. So sometimes the idea also is just great, but the highway is not the right one. Yeah. So our programs are to help you sit down and figure it out and eventually build an MVP. Try and go to the market, get it wrong, and it's okay. It doesn't mean you're a failure, because we see that a lot with entrepreneurs, or at least I do. I also conduct mental health talks, and I see a lot of entrepreneurs going through this season of thinking they are failures. I'm like, no, it's like trying to run and realizing you're not an athlete, but you could do padel. Or you could do boxing. It's
That's interesting you put it like that. So, because I know, man, when you're trying to build on this idea that you have, it might take time. You could even say that you're failing, and then you know that you might even consider going back to employment. Yeah, just for your dignity's sake. You know, you need some money. So would you advise people to also have like a day job while they're working on their ideas?
It depends on you. You really have to soul set yourself.
Yeah.
So make the decisions. But I tend to advise anyone who's already employed, take your time. If things are thick out here, make sure you take the salary you get and save it. If you're really that passionate, save it specifically to be seed capital for your business. As you're doing that, do research. Find out who your competition is. What are they doing? So if they're solving for the same market you're targeting, what do they really need that you could do differently? And things like that. So if you can leave. If you feel like you can't and you need a bit more time, there's no shame in that. Then take that time to intentionally save, intentionally network, intentionally research, and then understand by the time you're jumping ship, you're like, I think I have enough to start. Because you never have everything, but you can have enough to just take the leap of faith and start.
I agree.
So through this education process that you run, what are some of the common mistakes that entrepreneurs make when trying to bring these innovative solutions to the market, for example?
I think there's a mindset I noticed. Some people think the world owes them something, so we should fund you. I'm like, I don't know who you are. I've never seen you in my life. And then because of that, they now go into this negative stance of, I knew it. Investors in Kenya are not good. All these things are bad, You guys never support young people. I'm like, no, we do. We do support the young people who are actually doing something. Yeah. So there's this microwave mentality that's also a woye mentality that's happening that I've been trying to talk about even in my sessions, where one, you're not going to get funding without traction. Please go there and actually try the thing you're saying you want to do.
I agree.
But number two, please don't expect that the world will understand how you think. It's your vision. But find a way to communicate it to us. But remove this woye mentality and also remove this microwave thing where you think, I start this business today, I'm going to make $1 million in 3 months. It rarely happens. Sometimes it does, but it's rare. But for it to happen, if you ask those people, they were grinding at it. Sometimes it's like an iceberg that had been working for years, and then you see the out of nowhere part. But they had been at it for some time. So I tell people, be patient, so that removes the microwave mentality. And please grind. Put in the work. The same way you put in the work in a relationship, in your parents, in your friendships, in your job. Put in the work.
Speaking of putting in the work, you seem like you have a very positive mental attitude.
I've worked on it.
What are some of those practical ways you worked on your attitude? You seem very cool and grounded. It's like you have your whole life, going on.
No, I mean, I've struggled with depression and anxiety. For years, I attempted suicide 6 times when I was young. Clearly I failed because I'm here, we thank God. But over the years I had to understand, one, I'm a sensitive person, I'm a lover girl, I have a lot of empathy to give. But the unfortunate stance is, one, I thought everybody will feel the way I do, think the way I do, which they don't. So I had to reconcile my expectations with a lot of realities. Not everyone is like you. So just because I'm soft-spoken and I'm nice doesn't mean she'll be the same way. Doesn't mean she's not nice. But it doesn't mean she'll react the same way I do. And then also encouraging myself and pouring into myself instead of waiting for other people to do that. And I used to do that with sticky notes. I still do. Sticky notes all over my walls. So where I used to work from, there'd just be a wall. And anytime I just kind of zone out, my subconscious mind would be reading on noticing you are that bitch, you are great, you are awesome, you are beautiful. So I had to rewire my neuropath to being more positive.
Yeah.
And that meant even for a very long time, my screensavers were just positive vibes. Affirmations.
Yeah.
My friends, if you are negative, you are getting cut.
Yeah.
Not because you're a bad person, but I'm not going to have that around, because I was that to other people and I had to also check myself. So it's a lot of intentional rewiring of your brain, your neuropath, and your environment.
Did you ever consider going for therapy?
I have been going for therapy. It's great.
Oh, yeah?
I do, and I'm a big advocate for it. A lot of people think, oh, okay, so I'm going to talk to a stranger about my life. I'm like, first of all, they have an NDA, they can't talk about it.
Yeah.
But two, they don't actually, what people don't realize, it's not necessarily that they help you per se, like they solve it for you. It's like opening a door for you. They let you realize some thoughts, some foundational principles that you had in your brain that you didn't realize were there.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need to find the root, which is maybe a traumatic event from your childhood, something someone said, someone did. And then once you find it, because they guided you to, they walk you through finding it, you're now able to address it and then move forward. So sometimes it needs that professional to guide you to it. Some people are able to do it on their own. It's okay. But I am a big advocate for therapy. It's really helped me out.
Yeah, I like that.
So let's touch on the entrepreneurs that are not really talked about. Call them the serial entrepreneurs.
Okay.
When you start something, you build it out to a certain point, and then you sort of get bored. And then you move on to something else,
Yep.
and then you do it. So most people will be like, you don't have, they call the finishing spirits to see it,
All the way
keep
through.
going. Yeah. So how does someone be able to detect, this is the path that I'm going? And how do they leverage on that rather than listening to all the negative people who've had just one business for like 50 years?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a couple of those actually. And most of them have brilliant ideas. And that's where a co-founder comes in, or having like a CEO, COO, someone in a position where they can run the business for you, because those type of people they're called visionaries. They just have bubbles and bubbles of ideas, and they want to try all of them, and sometimes they're fortunate enough to have the resources to do so. So then always number one, find someone who can share the vision with you, because then if you have a vision, bearer can understand this is where we're going. We're passionate about Vasha boys, we're going. So even when you decide, oops, I'm going to make a turn here, I'm going to go to Nyahururu, they can still get it going, and they will keep that company running as you start the next venture or the next. So it's not bad. I don't think it's bad. What I do find a bit concerning about that is the solution itself for the problem you're solving isn't something you're actually passionate about. The getting bored is the routine. You've already started the business, it's running, you have different kinds of people doing different things, everything is moving, then the boredom comes in. But there are those who just start, a little bump on the road, they're gone. They said the next one, bump, next one, bump. You need to be like a Mark X and just dance on that bump and move to the next thing. You can't keep dodging roads. Don't come at me, Mark X guys, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, the lower you go, a number of people who are like that just run away because there was a bump.
Yeah.
And that they don't have the grit to keep trying to figure out, okay, how can I dance over this bump and get to the next thing? So they start another venture which seems easy, then it will also have another bump. Same.
Yeah.
There are those who actually see it through, and then when it's working, the boredom kicks in. So it's not figuring out, which one am I? Am I the one who gets bored because things are working? Am I the one who gets scared because there's a bump and now I'm running?
Yeah.
Right. So Z, it's been real.
Oh, you're chasing me already?
I have to. I gotta let you go. So in case folks want to partner with you, I'ma just, get more information from you. How can they reach out?
Well, if you want to talk to me directly, without going through the corners, you can find me on Instagram. That's ZBrand, and then from there we can see if it's an email consultation. But if it's more about business specifically, do sign up for the Founder Academy and Freelance Academy at ALX. I'm the facilitator, the trainer, so you'll quite possibly find me there. I do have office hours, so you can ask other questions. But if it's business related, let's go that way. If it's just life, mental health, there's that. If it's about being a firstborn, I do have an event coming up. There's that. So, but my Instagram is a good place to start.
Yeah. Would you say an event for firstborns or what?
Yes, I'm a firstborn, and only a fellow firstborn would understand my trials and tribulations.
I've heard that. Yeah, so it's actually true. Firstborns go through a lot.
Yeah, and the only person who gets us is a fellow. Are you a fellow firstborn?
Oh yeah.
Oh girl. So I'm doing an event for them. It wasn't supposed to be an event. I thought to be a small hangout with 10 people. And then I put out a form on Instagram, and I had 105 women sign up. up.
Wow.
And I was just like, well, damn. So I need to figure.
Yeah.
And my mom is watching.
Yeah.
So I
When
had
is this?
March 16th, Sunday.
Yeah.
10 to 2, working with Kwetu. So it will be at Kwetu. So
Very
we're going to do the new posters. But
Yeah.
for me, I'm very passionate about helping people find their best selves, whether it's entrepreneurship wise, whether it's mental health, because I do that in high schools, whether it's being a sister and a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Do you have a podcast?
I know, but I could
No,
join
you-
you guys. I see you have space.
Yeah. Anyway, Sasa. But thanks for coming through. It's
Thank
been
you so much
real.
for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right, Sasa. Guys, that was Z Gitahi, and of course, she's an entrepreneur. And today we've been talking about turning bold ideas into impactful solutions. Now, when we come back, you get still more vibes. There's a brother called Jesse Karanja, co-founder Zindua. Tech education for all, breaking barriers in the 254. Don't miss out on that one right now. Brokey. This one is by Lado. I know, Jay.
I knew, man.
I know. Bro, me ever
No way
this
the day would end without lack of so we
this chick
understand
is
you
just the one, man. So I saw 20 cars. It's 4 minutes after 8. Good evening.